Now, today we're going to be talking about real estate, but beyond that, we're also going to be talking about building a billionaire real estate business. You can do it either as a full-time job and or even if you're doing it as a side hustle. Now, this is where we're going to start from. One of the most important aspects of life is when you're going on a journey. If I'm traveling from here to Ibadan today, one of the things that I need to know even before I get, I get out of my house or step out of my door is to have an idea of the end in sight. I know exactly where I'm going to in Ibadan. It would be very funny if I step out of my door and then you ask me and I tell you I'm going to Ibadan. I ask me where exactly am I going to Ibadan, and I tell you I don't know. That will be disastrous. I'm sure that you won't even want me to actually step out of that journey if you love me. That is one thing that is about journey. So the most important aspect of journey in life is not the journey itself, it's the ability to see the journey even before you step out. Before you step out of your door, you know the road you are going to take. You have an idea of the route that you will take, whether you are going to the garage or you are driving directly to Ibadan yourself. That's the first thing. The second dimension of it is the absolute belief in the fact that you can get to your destination. One of the funny things about life is it is only in the journey of life or in the journey of success that people don't have absolute faith that they are going to get into that journey. And let me make an illustration here. How many of you in this room, if I tell you that in 2 years or in 1 year you would have a billionaire in your account or you will have 100 millionaire in your account? How many of you would absolutely believe it and go act on it? Very few. Most people, if you tell them today, they are going to laugh. You know why they laugh? Because they just don't believe in that thing. And that is the second factor that we need to actually quickly deal with. You need to have absolute faith that you will get to your destination. Let's use the example of the journey I mentioned to you. There's nobody in this room that if you're going to Ibadan or if you're going to just anywhere, if you have a doubt that whether you're going to get there safely or not, you will not go. You will stay back at home. Let's say that you're stepping out and you have this premonition that maybe there's going to be an accident. You won't start that journey in the first place. That is one. So the question I would ask you is, why do you, when you're traveling, you're going to Ibadan, you have so much confidence, you step out of your house, you step to the garage, you get into the car, and then you are driven all the way to Ibadan? There are a number of issues. One, you absolutely believe in the expertise of the manufacturer of the car. You believe that tool, that device called car, will take you from where you are to Ibadan. That's number one. Two, you believe that the engineers who made the car have made it in such a way that it is safe for you to travel from where you are to where you want to get to. And then also, whether the car is old or new, you believe that the last mechanic that repaired that car is competent enough to get you to repair the car and let the car get you to your destination. The second point is faith. That's the absolute belief in the fact that you will get to your destination. That is the second point that most people need to have. The first thing is the vision. You need to have a very clear-cut idea of where you're going to. You need to have a clear-cut, you need to believe in that. That is the second part of the preliminaries that we're going to treat today. And remember, I was saying that one of the reasons when you step out of your journey, let's say if you are driving, you just put fuel in your car and then you drive out of your door, you believe absolutely that one, the car is built to take you to destination. Two, you believe absolutely that the last person that serviced your car has done it well enough to take you to destination. But when it comes to the journey of life, and here you are in charge of that journey. You are the engineer that's manufactured it. You are the mechanic that serviced it. A lot of time when you say start the Billion-Naira journey, people don't believe it. People actually look at it as something that is impossible for them to achieve, and a lot of people do that. Even if they pretend as if they believe it. When you check deep down, they ask themselves, what is not likely is not possible. There are very few people that can confidently and categorically say, yes, I'm going to do a billionaire in the next 1 year. And what is the reason for this? I put here that the enabler that is missing. Skill and knowledge, therefore, is directly proportional to your confidence and the probability of you arriving at your destination safely. Because you believe so much in the manufacturer of the car, you believe so much in the mechanic that repaired the car, and so that is why you are able to get into the driver's seat. That is why you're able to get into that bus when you get to the car park, and then you say, you know what? to destination. Sometimes, even if you are not driving, you even sleep off in the course of the journey. It's because you believe absolutely in the competence and in the knowledge of those who manufacture the car. You believe in the knowledge of the mechanic that services the car, and you also believe that the driver knows how to drive. Now, if you're able to put your trust in those three people that you may not know, that you have not seen before, that you just met because you decided to take that journey. In this instance, you are the driver, you are the mechanic, you are the manufacturer of your destiny. Why don't you have that absolute faith that if you set up your, if you set your mind to it, you won't be able to do it? And that's, that's pretty very funny, because if there's one person you would trust, you should trust yourself. And that's why, I know a lot of people say that, oh, I don't trust anybody except myself. The reason why you cannot trust yourself, or why you do not trust yourself, why there's a gap, is because you think you did not have the skill or the knowledge that you need. This is the thing. The problem is sometimes that we do not believe in the skill that we have, or maybe that we do not have any skill. So we don't have the skill that is required. And that is part of the challenge. So let me quickly take it back a bit. I said, why you would get into that car, without so much of worry, and you will even sleep off on the journey, is because you think the driver is good enough, the mechanic is good enough, the manufacturer is good enough. But when it comes to the journey of your life, the reason why sometimes when you look into the direction of the life you want, into the direction of the wealth you want to build, into the direction of what you want your finance to be, the reason why it doesn't look like it is a journey that can be done, or that should be done, or that you want to do because of fear, is because you don't know, or maybe you don't actually have it. You don't have that skill that you need to take you, or the competence that you need to take you to the next point. But this is the solution. Knowledge and skill can be developed. Nobody is born skillful. Everybody is born blank, and we only learn to build it. I'm going to digress a bit here. Now, the challenge here is this. You need to first of all realize that you are not born with those skills. You are not born with those knowledge. And there's nothing wrong in being ignorant. You can only be ignorant in the first instance. By the second instance, you can get the knowledge. This session actually provides you part of those skills. But let me quickly say this, that this session is basically introductory, because we can't take all you need during this session. It's going to take hours of that, and we're willing to provide that in subsequent session. Now, the tools, you need to understand that you can achieve this number. What are the tools you need? Number one, you need to understand that you can achieve this number. That is the faith that you can achieve that number. Number two, you need to develop the skill required to build this number. The third tool you need to become that person that can generate that number. Let's go back a bit again. There are three tools you need if you want to actually get to your destination. That is number one. You need to understand that these numbers are achievable. People that do Billion-Naira businesses are not smarter, they are not different, they are not more unique than you. That is one. So you need to understand that you can achieve it. Number two, you need to develop the skill that you require, that is required to build this number. And number three, you need to become that person, because at the end of the day, this is why, for example, somebody who is given a Billion-Naira in lottery, give them 2, 3, 4 years, they lose it. It is one of the tragedies of life that one person gets so much and loses it in such a very short time. And this is the issue, because you can have it, but if you are not that person that can build it, hold it, and sustain it, you are going to lose it. So part of the tool is becoming the person that can generate. And I hope that by the reason of this session today, that we would help you on the journey to becoming. Because at the end of the day, when we pursue worthy goals, it is not necessarily the goal that becomes important. It is who we become in the process of achieving that particular goal that we have, who you change to be. Because when you stretch, you don't go back to the same, you always become better. That is why somebody who's done it once is likely to be able to do it much more, subsequently. There are two options you have. Because we're in this class, you either win or you win. And what am I saying? Now, if you stretch, you may just achieve the 1 billion naira. That's if you're not there yet. You may just achieve it. But even if you don't achieve it, what you've done by the reason of your stretch, your mind is expanded in such a way that when you approach issues, you approach it differently than it used to be. So you cannot listen, you cannot try, you cannot endeavor and still be the same. So this is what I encourage people to be. It's better to fail trying to do the big thing than to, because of fear, not do anything. Because if you don't do anything, you are just where you are. But if you try, even if you do not get there, you are farther in the journey of life than what you. I need you to remember this: that being rich is not about having the billions; it's about the ability to create the billions at will. Which is why if somebody, we've seen cases of people who were at the top who went into bankruptcy, and then within a short time. One very popular example in Nigeria here is this guy, Femi Otedola. Most of us are familiar with the story that that was circulating some few years ago when he lost quite a lot of money. He had to sell off. He was owing the bank. He was doing this and that. And then today, we're still reading the story of his prowess in corporate Nigeria. I started by just saying one of the first aspect of this journey is having a clear-cut idea of where you want to be. The second part of it is faith, the absolute belief in the fact that you can get to your destination. And then after that, I said you need, the reason why people are afraid when you say building a billionaire business, the first question a lot of people ask me is that possible? People laugh and say, oh, you guys have started again. It's because they do not believe. And I was asking that, if you are traveling, you enter a car, some of you won't sleep inside the car, you snore, and then you just expect the driver to deliver you. Why at your destination? Why do you believe that? Because number one, you believe that the driver is skillful, you believe that the manufacturer of the car is knowledgeable enough to design and produce that car, and then the mechanic that repaired it. So in that journey that is dependent on third party, you believe absolutely in their competence. But when it comes to you, you don't believe that you will get that. The reason is that maybe there's deficit of skill or knowledge. And I said the enabler, that your skill or your confidence is therefore directly proportional to your skill, and the knowledge that you have. The problem is this, that sometimes we don't just believe in the skill that we have, or maybe we just don't have that particular skill. And what is the solution to that? You need to build knowledge, you need to build the skill. If you're in this room today, this is what you're doing. One of the reasons why you are here is because you want to build this solution. There are 3 tools that you need to have as you journey with us today. Number one, you need to understand that you can achieve this number. That's number one. Number two, you need to develop the skill required to build this number. Number 3, you need to become the person that can generate this number. And I did expand a bit to tell you that at the end of the day, when you pursue a worthy goal, the most important aspect of that goal is not the goal in itself. It becomes the person you become by the reason of that goal. When you stretch, you change, and when you change, you become better, particularly when you are actually pursuing a worthy goal. And that is why, for example, in the course of recruitment or employment, they look at your years of experience, because they expect that because you've been there, because you've tried more, you have become better. What the employer is paying for is not just your year of experience, it's who you have become by the reason of the years of experience that you've had. And that is the way it works. So whatever you are doing today, you need to ask yourself, how am I becoming better? Because that is part of the journey. Now, there are 2 options in this webinar. You are either going to win or you are going to win. And what do I mean? By the reason of this webinar, you are either able to build a billionaire real estate business or a billionaire business across any product, depending on what you want to do, or you become better by trying to be, even if you don't achieve that goal. So whichever way, you win. Nobody attending this and listening to me today will lose. I need you to remember something, that being rich is not about having the billions. It is about the ability to create the billions at will. That is what true wealth means. And I was using the example of people that we know who have built Billion-Naira worth of enterprise, and then they lose it, and then they bounce back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. Using the example of this common one, Femi Otedola. So let's remember something very clearly now, that wealth, first of all, is a state of abundance. It is derived from the old word English word called wella, or wealth, meaning happiness and prosperity in abundance. Now, abundance is a state of mind. It's not the presence of material resource, which is why, for example, if you distribute 1 million to people who don't have the wealth mindset, give them 1 year or 2, they are going to lose. All of us in this room, we know people who actually eat money, or who won lottery, or who were given a large chunk of money at any particular time, and then fast forward 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, they are back to where they started. Or a civil servant, particularly those of us who are in our 30s and 40s, who, because they had access to public money, they packed so much of that money, and fast forward 10, 15, 20 years later, they can't find that particular. When you see them, you feel sorry for them,